I want to refer to page 100 of Cooperation and Coercion. You reference a case of gun control in 1996 in Australia, where after the implementation of the gun buyback, can't buy back what you never owned, after the gun confiscation, gun homicides declined 22%. What they don't mention is in the same 7-year period, gun violence declined 29% in the United States. I'm curious, what does this tell us about looking at statistics? Is it enough to just say, look at one law, implement it here and here, and then we know what it is? Or are people so diverse in so many different regions, all we could really use is a logical approach to these things, or does it have to be also empirical?
Well, I think as with any science, you start off with some theory, some hypothesis of how people behave, but then you've got to put that hypothesis to the test and look at the data. And if the data don't confirm the hypothesis, if they refute the hypothesis, you probably need to come up with a new hypothesis. Now, it's much more fuzzy with economics because of all sorts of randomness that you tend not to get nearly as much in the physical sciences. And so an experiment, a set of data in economics is not definitive as it would be in the physical sciences, but it is telling. It points us in a direction. Now, will one study tell me that gun buybacks are good versus bad? No, it won't. But repeated studies under different conditions, different circumstances can very well point in that direction. And the direction they seem to be pointing is one that would conform to a more reasonable hypothesis. And I'll give you two competing hypotheses. One is, if I confiscate guns, people will stop killing each other. The other is, the problem isn't guns, the problem is people killing each other. If you take away the guns, they'll still kill each other. They'll just find something else to use. Now, this latter hypothesis seems more reasonable because it seems not to contradict human behavior. If you've got a person who's hell-bent on killing people, taking away his gun is not going to stop that. That's what this hypothesis says. If I take away your gun, I'll stop it. This hypothesis says, well, if I take away your gun, you're just going to find something else. And lo and behold, if you look at the Australian data, what you find is that over this period where they confiscated the guns, they had this big gun buyback program, homicides by gun dropped, but homicides by knife went up. And if you put them together, the combined homicides actually did go down a bit, but not nearly as much as what the gun homicides went down. What was happening is people were conforming to the second hypothesis. They were simply shifting. They decided they want to kill somebody. I'm going to use something else because you've taken away my gun.
And also, you can already see that it was that gun violence in Australia was already drastically declining, going back towards the end of the 80s. This is much like the OSHA or the child labor argument. Look, since OSHA started, occupational safety and health, worker deaths have dropped drastically. It's like, oh yeah, I guess we do need OSHA. Wait a second. What did it look like before the implementation? And it was going down at a faster rate. Same thing with child labor after the implementation of those laws. The lying with statistics, we can never escape it.